And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it.
In the final weeks and days of this campaign, there are two things that Donald Trump is now more than ever. The first is obvious. He's more deranged than ever. We can see it in his speeches, his interviews, and his press conferences that Donald Trump obviously in clear cognitive decline, but it comes out in his fits of rage, in these rants and rambles that he gives where he loses his mind. But the second thing that is incredibly clear about Donald Trump, as he's covered in more makeup than ever. Donald Trump is really Sing It On heavy as he completely melts down. And in his speech in Arizona, you could just see how much makeup Donald Trump covered himself with, because sweaty, gross Trump. It was all coming off. It was gross. It was bad, but not as bad as the words coming out of Donald Trump's mouth, or sometimes the lack of words, because we saw another instance in which Donald Trump could not speak. It happens more lately, but this was one of the worst, and his crowd was just silent. And as I always love to see, you can see the MAGA cultists looking side to side for reassurance of what is going on with this guy, because he is in such decline, and we are going to cover all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way in supporting All Right Friends. We have a couple of clips to look at in this video. Let's get into this first crazy clip of Trump.
What Kamala and her radical left cronies have done to the state of Arizona is a crime that can never be forgiven. What they've done to us and what they've done to us on the border can never be forgiven. For 4 straight years, she's imported an army of illegal alien gang members and migrant criminals from the dungeons all over the world. Not South America, all over the world they come. From prisons and jails, insane asylums, mental institutions, from Venezuela, from the Congo, all over. And she's resettled them into your communities to prey upon innocent American people. If Kamala gets 4 more years, the entire country will be turned into a migrant camp, and that's what's happening. Millions and millions of people. When I win on November 5th, the migrant invasion ends and the restoration of our country begins.
This is how out of control the fear-mongering has gotten. We are at the point of our coming out of dungeons. Is Donald Trump this much caught up with the silence of the lambs that he has to talk about? Hannibal Lecor and insane asylums and dungeons. Does he know what he's talking about? Or does he just have like a hat of words that he's taken out? He's like, okay, I am going with dungeons, and tomorrow I'm going with, I don't even know. I can't even predict what type of thing he's going to say next, but the fear-mongering, the anger that he continues to push these conspiracies that he's throwing out are just so gross. And we've already seen the impact that they've had on the towns that he's lying about. And we see more of those lies in this clip right here.
So I will rescue Arizona and every town across America that has been invaded and conquered. They've been conquered. They're conquering the towns. And you know, our governors and our mayors, and you know, a lot of people can't blame them. I can't blame them. They don't want to bring it up. 2 reasons. Number one, they are scared. They're very scared. Some of them are very scared.
So he's talking about the mayors and governors of these cities and these states, because it's not just Democrats calling out Donald Trump for his lies. Republican state and local officials in places like Aurora, Colorado, or Springfield, Ohio are telling Donald Trump to stop, because his lies aren't just ridiculous as they always are, but they're harmful, they're dangerous, they're causing political violence. It's just like the conspiracies that Donald Trump has pushed about hurricane relief to victims victims affected by Milton and Helen. Donald Trump's words are dangerous because they can convince people to act in against their own self-interest, and it's just sad to see as this is what he's doing to score political points as much as he can and losing his mind in doing so. And it's crazy that as he's losing his mind, he makes accusations like this against Vice President Harris.
She goes on these shows and they're softball after softball and ends up in a scandal every time she opens her mouth. You know, we had 4 years of that. We had 4 years of that. And, you know, in his case, he developed. She was born that way.
The projection from Trump couldn't be any clearer. It's VP Harris, who's only doing softball interviews, was 60 minutes, so much of a softball interview that you didn't want to do it because it was too easy, or did you not want to do it because it was too difficult for you? Maybe it's not even that. It's too difficult. Donald Trump doesn't want to do any interview, and which his hand isn't literally being held by the Newsmax or Fox host, who is barely asking him questions, like I said before so many times, just throwing softballs at him and then directing him in the right way to speak, which never really actually helps CU. He can still find a way to screw over himself as he goes on these rambling diet tribes like we saw in this clip right here.
TDR. I say, no, that doesn't sound too good. That sounds like a drugstore. I don't want to do that, of course. Nowadays, if you look at our drugstores, they do pretty good there. Do you see the drugstores? You can't get anything in certain places.
So Donald Trump is talking about VP Harris, is talking about building housing, cutting costs, lowering inflation even more, and he's focused on drugstores. This is a man completely out of his mind, and we continue to see that in this clip right here that I wanted to talk about when Donald Trump really can't find the words he wants as he just kind of rambles and the crowd is completely silent, so confused as he gets out of it. Let's take a look.
All you have to do is you need a president. You know, my father used to tell me, these guys that need letters, they'll come into my office, son, and they'll say, sir, thank you for the job. And, sir, could I have a letter saying that you've promoted me? Those guys never worked out because they need a letter. It was the ones that walked in and said, I'm the boss now, you're going to listen to me. They didn't need a letter. He always would say, anytime they wanted a letter of authorization, they never worked out. She didn't need anything. She didn't need a bill. All she had to do is have Biden call up the president, only the president, and say, close up the border. And instead, we're paying a big price.
He is just so confused. At this point, he doesn't know what he's talking about. You need a letter to confirm your promotion, but you should just come in and say, you're the boss to your boss. I don't know what Donald Trump is trying to say, but it's very clear that he's talking about the insecurities that he has and how he always wants to be perceived as a strong man. And that's what he learned from his dad, who didn't love him and wouldn't hug him, that you just have to be mean and an authoritarian. But his craziness isn't just something that we observe. VP Harris must have had the telecast going at the same time watching Donald Trump's speech, because she responded to his exact craziness and his exact insecurity in her speech in a clip I want to check out right here.
He refuses to release his medical records. I've done it. Every other presidential candidate in modern era has done it. He is unwilling to do a 60 Minutes interview. Like every other major party candidate has done for more than half a century. He is unwilling to meet for a second debate. And here's the thing, it makes you wonder, why does his staff want him to hide away?
He won't release his medical records. He won't do 60 Minutes. He won't do another debate. What will he do besides hide and ramble and be confused and take those tiny little fingers to Truth Social to post away? And I guess we can also say that grifting is in there somewhere, but he's hiding. There are a couple of weeks left in this election and he is hiding. We have to continue to call it out. And when he does face the public, he's saying crazy things like this.
And I'm hereby calling for the death penalty for any migrant that kills an American citizen or a law enforcement officer.
He is now throwing around the death penalty. I said earlier in this video, he must have just like a hack where he's pulling words out. I said, what's next after dungeons? And I guess it was a different D. It's the death penalty. This man is crazy. He has completely lost it. He is an incredible danger. And VP Harris called out that exact danger in this clip right here.
And the people who know him best know it. His former national security advisor, 2 of his former defense secretaries, his former chief of staff in the White House, his own vice president, have all warned America Donald Trump is unfit to serve. Or just listen most recently to what we heard General Milley said. General Milley, former chairman of the Joint Chiefs under Donald Trump. It was just reported, he said, quote, "No one has ever been as dangerous to this country," in referring to Donald Trump. Think about that. Think about that. And we can already see the harm he's up to as a candidate. Most recently, spreading disinformation in the wake of natural disasters. Blocking real solutions that would stop drug cartels from crossing the border when he tried to kill and did that border security deal. Because you see, Donald Trump cares more about scaring people, creating fear, running on a problem, instead of what real leaders do, which is to participate in fixing problems.
The people closest to Donald Trump know what a threat he is. Not just to us here at home, not just to America, but globally. Donald Trump is a threat. Donald Trump should be nowhere near the White House. Donald Trump shouldn't be running the gas station. He should be in charge of nothing. He needs to be if we're going to be real in a home. This is a man who has lost his mind, and we do not need to deal with it any longer. So we are going to spend the rest of the days until this election calling that out. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video, and if you're stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.